what else did I want to get into today? Here's another one I want to talk about. I always tell you guys I'm going to keep doing stories until the story is expired, until it's kind of petered out and there's nothing more with the story, because it's always interesting. It's always interesting to see how things play out. And now Harley-Davidson, after the Sturgis video that I talked about went viral, after the blowback, after the going woke, after all the other crap, more stuff comes out on Harley-Davidson. Harley-Davidson has more backlash. They're laying off people here in the United States. They're moving more production to Thailand. And this is all things that, because traditionally, yes, they did. There was some production in India and Thailand and in other places, but those motorcycles were sold abroad because Harley does sell motorcycles everywhere. But now Harley-Davidson is moving production overseas for the motorcycles they're going to make here in the United States. And now they're laying off American citizens. That's kind of a big deal when you're laying off more Americans to ship the jobs overseas, and then you want to pretend like you're the American brand Harley-Davidson. In the last Harley video I did, and here you can see the new badging that doesn't say Harley-Davidson. It's just a stupid symbol. This is, what a nightmare. What a nightmare. This is their, I didn't know they had rebranded. And so now you can see the new shield that used to say like American made or whatever it said, and had Harley-Davidson in the center. That's gone. And here you see two stunning and brave ladies sitting behind the desk. You know, I remember when the only ladies that were hanging around motorcycles were either female motorcycle riders or they were girls in bikinis. Oh, those were the good days. But there was that long shot of the guy driving on his motorcycle, and it had the long shot of the booth at Sturgis. Well, this is from somebody that went to the booth at Sturgis. Let me pull down the volume on this so I don't blow your ears out. Look how this used to have thousands of dudes standing around talking about their motorcycles.
Guys, I wanted to give you a look under the Harley-Davidson tent. A lot of people have been asking me, is there really a Harley boycott going on in Sturgis? Well, we wanted to come out here and show you. Remember last year, Cycle Drag showed you the Budweiser tent, and unfortunately, it looks like for the motor company this year, it may be affecting them. It looks like participation is way down under the Harley tent. As for the reason for this boycott, Harley accused of going quote-unquote woke by some. Because of that, not many have entered this booth, at least not today, here in Sturgis, South Dakota at the 84th annual rally. Let me know your thoughts down below.
Now, for those of you just listening, there's one couple. They're American, you can tell because of their weight. And everybody here in the black shirts that have badges around their neck, they're employees. They're employees. So you've got maybe one or two couples over on the right, this couple that just walked by on the left, these portly gentlemen, which are also Americans because of their weight. And you look at the rest of this, and it's people in black shirts with a white lanyard. People in black shirts with a white lanyard. That's it. You've got maybe two people checking out the Harleys and no one else around except employees. The whole thing is empty. So the guy that took this screen from the motorcycle driving by wasn't even joking around. Like, there is nobody there. The boycott is legit, it is real, and it is devastating to Harley. People do not understand that brand, like the brand is important, but it's the messaging of the brand that matters. I'm gonna read the story here quickly. This is from Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. It says Harley-Davidson moving more motorcycle production to Thailand. Union workers strongly object to Harley sending more workers overseas. This is from last night from the Milwaukee Journal. Harley-Davidson's moving more motorcycles production to Thailand angering the union workforce in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. The change is also notable for the iconic American company, which just some years ago vowed it would never build bikes overseas for the U.S. marketplace. Harley-Davidson has backtracked on that promise, planning to manufacture these bikes abroad and send them to the U.S. for American consumers. Brian Bryant, president of the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, said in a statement, quote, Harley-Davidson's announcement to ship our work and our jobs to Thailand is a kick in the teeth to American workers and a betrayal of the company's legacy as an American icon. In 2019, nearly 600 IAM members at Harley-Davidson and Syncreon in Kansas City lost their jobs when the companies shuttered its facility, claiming that its Thailand plant would only serve the Asian and European markets, he added. Harley-Davidson confirmed the change but disagreed with the union on the jobs issue. This does not have an impact on the employment at U.S. facilities, the company said. Additionally, building on an $89 million Department of Energy grant, and as part of this move, Harley also said that it's investing an additional $9 million into its U.S. manufacturing facilities to strengthen their capabilities and capacity for core products. The Harley that will be produced in Thailand includes the popular Pan America bike and the Sport series comprised of the Sportster, the Nightster, and the Nightster Special, all using the company's Revolution Max engine. Production of Harley's more expensive touring bikes, trikes, and softail models will remain in the U.S., according to the company. Now they say production, but that doesn't mean manufacturing. That means they're taking parts from overseas and they're assembling them in the United States. Now, if they just said they weren't going to do this and produce bikes in Thailand for America, and then they are, and then they say this isn't going to affect the unions, do you think anybody believes them? They just lied to everybody about the foreign bikes wouldn't be made overseas and then shipped here for sales. They say as part of our overall manufacturing optimization strategy, Harley-Davidson is to temporarily transition the production of its non-core Revolution Max powertrain-equipped models to its existing manufacturing facility in Thailand for model year 2025. Harley-Davidson opened a plant in Thailand in late 2018, largely in response to a 31% tariff the European Union slapped on U.S. manufactured motorcycles, which in turn was a response to then President Donald Trump's tariffs on European steel and aluminum imports. At the time, Trump claimed Harley was using the tariffs as an excuse for moving production abroad. Many Harley-Davidson owners plan to boycott the company if the manufacturing moves overseas. Great, Trump tweeted in August 2018. Still, the company has struggled to grow its business and control costs. Listen, if you've seen a Harley-Davidson, they're expensive motorcycles. They've always been expensive. Many looked at them like the American Rolex, but for motorcycles. And if you know anything about Rolex, Rolex is not the best watch when it comes to the internals and accuracy. There's a lot of other watches that are, the movement in them is actually better. I'm talking about the self-winding, because quartz is trash and it runs on a battery, and all those watches are pretty accurate. But when it comes to the internals on a self-winding watch, there's huge differences. Rolex is good, but it's not the best. It's not the best for how much they charge. What makes Rolex unique is the marketing and the brand. Rolex used to say, I've made it. I'm successful. Well, Harley-Davidson used to kind of be the same thing. It's Americana muscle. It was made in the U.S. The parts were made in the U.S. and it was more expensive because of it. But it was better quality and it had a brand behind it. But over time, Harley forgot that. And they forgot what made them special. But they're still overcharging for their bikes. And what they're trying to do is a common problem that a lot of manufacturers do. When you have a high-end product, there's going to be good years, there's going to be bad years. And what you don't want to do is when you have a couple of bad years because maybe cheap manufacturers sell more bikes or something else, and you're trying to compete with other motorcycles, you change your brand to be more like the other motorcycles. Because what you're doing is, yes, you might get a couple more sales, but you're now not holding that position that you once had. You know, there's a reason why you can buy a nice, like, Yamaha V-Star. You can buy a nice Honda, what do they call them? The Gold Wings, I think. You can buy, there's nice Hondas and Yamahas and Suzukis, and there's plenty of great motorcycles out there. But what made Harley was the U.S. badge, the history, and the pride that it was in America. And many people would pay extra for that because it's kind of like having the Rolex of motorcycles. And not necessarily, again, that it's made the best, but it's got a brand to it. Harley's destroyed the brand. They've destroyed the pride. They've destroyed the, quote, American muscle. And now what is it? It's lost its place. And that's why even though the companies move stuff overseas, it's still struggling to grow its business and control its costs. And I guarantee you, one of the problems they're having with controlling costs is the DEI stuff. They're all in on this pride, all in on this woke nonsense. So they've got more human resources, more middle managers, more DEI personnel. Most of the DEI personnel are college graduates that demand six-figure salaries. I guarantee you that they're going to be eating up at least a couple percentage of the company's revenue. I can't see it any other way. They say the average age of a motorcyclist in the U.S. has risen steadily as fewer young people have stepped up to take the place of baby boomers easing out of the saddle. Harley and many other companies have fought harder for a share of the consumer dollar that's been strained by inflation, higher mortgages, student loan debt, and changes in discretionary spending. The additional production in Thailand will hurt Harley's U.S. suppliers and likely result in job losses at their plants. The IAM will employ every resource at our disposal to fight this outrageous move. Harley-Davidson needs to return to the drawing board and develop a solution that keeps the productions of the Sports Series and Pan American bikes where they belong in the United States, he said. Here's something else that I think, that needs to be done. If motorcycles are going to have a revival in the United States, something big has to happen, which is they have to make them cool again. For the younger crowd, you can push, there are electronic motorcycles, but there are plenty of cheap bikes out there. They used to have advertisements talking about the freedom on the road. You can buy a bike in many cases that they're quite sporty and quite fast for $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for a brand new bike. I forget some of the brands, but like a Ninja 300. You can get a little 300 for probably $4,000 or $5,000 still, and they're faster than any car you can buy for, $20,000 or $25,000. They got away from selling this as freedom, and that's what it used to be in the 60s and the 70s in the movies and in the ads. Motorcycles were freedom. Oh, I remember what I was going to say about my gear. That if you wear gear like that, even if you wear all the gear all the time like I do, if you're driving down on a sunny day that's maybe 90 degrees out, and then you turn down a shadowed road with trees overhanging and a slight breeze, you can instantly feel because you're moving at 50 miles an hour, you can feel the temperature drop 10 degrees. Like you'd just be driving, you're like, oh, cool air, just like that. It's almost like someone turned on air conditioning. You drive by a barbecue joint and instantly you smell the barbecue. And then you drive by roadkill and you instantly smell that. It's a very different experience. No one ever talks about this anymore. No one ever sells the excitement of being a motorcycle rider. You see hooligans going out there and doing stupid stuff that, even some of these videos I watch, idiots weaving through traffic, and it makes my palms sweat because you're like, you're going to get ended if you do that much longer, buddy. But they need to get back to it being a thing. Now it's just money. It's always money. How do we make more money? How do we scrape every last penny for our shareholders? Instead of just being a business, it's like, hey, we're positive. We're positive growth. We're doing well. We're going to use more of our money for advertising or to make the next generation of young people get into motorcycles. But they don't do that anymore. And lastly, I'll leave it with this. As far as the Harley story. Because here's proof pudding that it's about the brand and not the motorcycle. It's about the people and not the badge on the bike. This is from the Daily Mail, and this is from 2 days ago. Iconic motorcycle dealership shuts down after 110 years amid chaotic final days as the firm battles woke DEI. But here's the part. They sold the place. This was a business. The San Francisco Harley-Davidson was founded in 1914 by Dudley Perkins, and it was passed along to 3 generations. But the iconic location had been run into the ground after it was taken over by Cliff Chester in 2018, former employees said. And there's one point that's really important that I caught out of this. They say right here, Chester said, or additionally, employees said, Chester put much less emphasis on building a good rapport with customers, something that was key under the Perkins family. They said it just became a dealership, Martinez said. That's not what Dudley Perkins was. You were part of a family, the motorcycle community. Mechanic Christopher Weber also told Mission Local that the dealership was like a museum for hog enthusiasts. But he said in the last few days of the dealership was in operation, it seemed like it had been run into the ground. The whole point that I'm trying to make clear here, whether you're Harley, whether you're Porsche, Ferrari, Rolex, Indian Motorcycles, Bud Light, or Disney, you are part of a brand. And that brand got the name and got the quality and got the appreciation and got the love for being something that was quality, was something that people liked. People felt like they were part of a family. And not in all cases, but it might have just been their brand. Like in the case of Bud Light was my brand. And what they end up doing is they take that brand and they destroy it, thinking that brand loyalty is so strong they can mess it up. Bud Light did it and they screwed up. Disney did it, they screwed up. Now the parks are suffering because people don't, they go there and see a 38-year-old dude in a dress saying that he's Tinkerbell and he wants to put makeup on kids. And they're like, no, thank you, I'm out. And of course, Disney's done it with their movies, pushing the message. So they've done that. The MCU, the Marvel Universe, did it with their movies. We had a lot of love for the Iron Man and Captain America and all the rest of them, and now they're trying to gender bend it, and they're trying to change everything that's core about these people or the superheroes, and people aren't interested. And that's what Harley's doing. That's what Tractor Supply did. That's what John Deere does. These companies with brands and history are throwing it away to try something crazy and new that doesn't support the customers that like their brand. And then they think somehow there's going to be loyalty there. They're all going to learn the hard way. Harley's going to learn the hard way as well. They won't find out until it's too late, though.